For centuries, we've had this really simple rule that governs value. The rarer something is, the more it's worth. Simple enough, right? But what if that rule just broke? Well, in the absolutely wild world of NFTs, it's not just broken, it's been flipped completely on its head. We're about to dive into some amazing research that uncovers this shocking paradox and how we value digital stuff. And trust me, the answer is going to change how you think about ownership itself.
And yeah, it all kind of starts right here. Back in 2021, the artist Beeple sold an NFT for an insane $69 million. So what did he, the artist, think of his own multi-million-dollar masterpiece? He called it crap. That one word, that one sale, it perfectly captures the mystery we're trying to solve today. What actually gives an NFT its price tag?
So to really get our heads around just how bizarre this all is, we have to go back to basics. We've got to start with the old school rule, the one that's governed everything from priceless art to vintage baseball cards for, well, centuries. It's the scarcity principle, and we all get this, right? Whether it's rare stamps or a one-of-a-kind painting, the logic has always been crystal clear. You have a limited supply, you have high demand, and boom, you get a high price. I mean, this is Econ 101. It's a rule that has worked perfectly, for physical things anyway. Because then, NFTs happened. Non-fungible tokens crashed onto the scene, and all of a sudden, those old, reliable rules started to fall apart in the most spectacular way.
I mean, just look at the CryptoPunks. These little pixelated heads, they were given away for free when they first launched. Free! Yet by 2021, the average one was selling for $500,000. You just can't explain that kind of price explosion with scarcity alone. Something else, something way more powerful, has to be going on here.
So, what is this powerful force? Well, this is where the research has a huge breakthrough. It argues that to understand NFT prices, we've basically been looking in the completely wrong direction. The secret isn't in the digital file itself, but in the community, the people built around it. We need to talk about something called social value.
Okay, let's just quickly define what we're talking about here. First, there's intrinsic value. This is the stuff we normally think of. The actual beauty of a painting, the craftsmanship of a nice watch, or just the pure fun you get from owning something cool. It's the value the thing has all by itself. Social value, though, that's a whole different ballgame. It has almost nothing to do with the object. It's all about the value you get from what owning that object says to other people. It's the status, right? It's that sense of belonging, the feeling that you're part of some exclusive club. And check this out, this is the proof. When researchers actually surveyed owners, they found this incredible reversal. For physical stuff, people said about 82% of the value is intrinsic. It's about the thing itself. But for NFTs, it's completely flipped. A whopping 81% of the perceived value comes from that social connection. See, it's not about the art. It's about the club. And that changes everything. And this, right here, brings us to the main event, the big, shocking twist in the story. If an asset's value is almost entirely social, what do you think happens when you make it more scarce? Well, you might not get the answer you'd expect. Which leads us to this totally mind-bending question, one that just goes against everything we think we know about economics. What if, in this new world driven by social value, making something rarer actually makes it less valuable? Just think about that for a second.
The best way to get your head around this is with a really simple analogy. Think of a super popular nightclub. If it's packed with 200 people, the vibe is amazing, the energy is electric, the social value is through the roof because everyone wants to be there to be part of that scene. But what if that same club only let 5 people in? All of a sudden, it's dead, it's empty, the party's over. By making access too scarce, you've actually destroyed the very community that made it valuable in the first place.
And that is exactly what this research finds with NFTs. For these digital assets that live and die on social value, scarcity can actually be a threat. When an NFT collection is blowing up online, making it too exclusive feels like getting locked out of that hot nightclub. It threatens people's access to the community, and so potential buyers actually devalue it. The price goes down, not up. It's incredible. Now, to be clear, this paradox isn't exactly the same for all NFTs. The research found it's strongest for collections where every single item is unique, but they all still look like they belong to the same family. Think Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? This design is the sweet spot. You get the social value of belonging to the group, the affiliation, but you also get the status of owning a totally unique piece, the distinctiveness. And because this setup maximizes social value, it also makes these collections the most vulnerable when things get too scarce.
So, what does all of this mean for the future?
Well, this isn't just some quirky thing about digital monkeys. This idea that social connection can actually be more valuable than pure scarcity, it raises some huge, profound questions for our entire digital economy.
I mean, this just opens up a whole new can of worms, in a good way. We're talking about all kinds of fascinating new questions, like if you can own just a tiny fraction of a famous NFT, does that actually increase its social value by letting more people into the club? And hey, could this same logic apply to other digital goods, like maybe rare items in video games? The answers could totally reshape how companies market and sell us things online.
At the end of the day, it all boils down to this one huge thought. For centuries, value was tied to the physical thing you could hold in your hand. But as our lives, our friendships, and our assets all move online, a massive shift is happening. And in the future, the most important question might not be what you own, but who you own it with.